My goal with this series of videos was not just to expose you to this sentence structure, but to provide something that at the end of watching it, or even at the end of watching through the videos a few times, there is noticeable and consistent improvement in your overall sentence structure and your overall accuracy in your interpretations. Okay, so that is why right now we are going to start applying what we just learned. And this video may need to be done a few times, or maybe the next one a few times, in order to actually learn the material as opposed to just being exposed to it. So with that in mind, I encourage interpreters to actually record yourself interpreting it into ASL cold simultaneously, and then you will be able to self-assess as we go through this video. You will not really be able to self-assess if you do not record yourself interpreting this.
Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So, I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So, I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So, I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures.
First sentence. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So first, the time is last weekend. We're going to assign that first. Last weekend or recent weekend. Okay? Not just past weekend. That's any weekend in the past, but recent or recent weekend. Then the prepositional phrase here is for my living room wall. For my living room wall is the backdrop of this sentence. We're going to put that forward and we're going to sign my living room wall. Okay? My living room wall. So far we have last weekend, my living room wall, and then it says I wanted some pictures, and it's for this wall, right? I wanted some pictures. So what I did with my interpretation of this is not the only way you could sign this. The important thing as you're going through this is just to make sure that you're identifying the prepositional phrase and putting it in the right place in the sentence, okay? So last weekend, prepositional phrase goes here, my living room wall, and then we have I wanted some pictures. And what I did was I showed the speaker looking at the wall saying, you know what, I want pictures. And notice how I made pictures plural. It's not just I wanted a picture, but I wanted pictures. So there are many different ways you can make a noun plural. In this case, I used a classifier. I wanted picture, and then I put the pictures on the wall. So the way I signed this was time first, last weekend, then the prepositional phrase, my living room wall. That's the backdrop of the story. And then I showed myself making the decision in my head that I needed pictures for this wall. Don't forget your pronouns either. I looked at the wall and said, you know what? I want pictures up on that wall. I want pictures, and I'm making it plural, and I'm also creating this additional visual element by placing the pictures on the wall. Next sentence. So I went shopping with my dad. Prepositional phrase is with my dad, so I'm going to sign that first. My dad, two of us, and then I signed two people go to store. Next sentence. It was insanely crowded in Target. The prepositional phrase here is in Target, so I'm going to sign that first. I chose to spell Target, but there are signs, established signs for the store Target. I just decided to spell it because there's a lot of different signs for it, okay? So, Target, and then I signed for insanely crowded, okay? This sign means wowie. And then this is one sign that shows that there's a lot of people in there. So the prepositional phrase, Target, wowie, crowded. I could have signed this sign last. I could also have signed this sign for crowded, okay? I could have signed Target. All right? I also could sign this instead of this. Lots of different choices there. But I chose to sign the sentence like this. I'm going to do it voice off. But we did find some good deals in the clearance section. So I chose to sign this as a transition for the idea of but. However, this is just one way you could do that. All right, so that's the transition. We did find some good deals in the clearance section. Prepositional phrase here is in the clearance section. So I'm going to sign that first. And then I chose to spell clearance. Okay, there are other ways you could do this. But the reason why I chose to spell clearance is just because it could be, if you sign something like reduce price area or price reduce, then that could also be sale, and the clearance section is kind of a different thing than sales. So I thought for clarity's sake, I chose to spell clearance. All right, so clearance section, I find. I find. Ooh-wee cheap. Found some good deals. You could also sign good price instead of cheap if you didn't like cheap. And I chose this because this person's expressing, that it was a really good thing, that they were happy with these finds. We did find some good deals in the clearance section. So to show their positivity behind these finds, I use this sign to express that positivity. Again, that phrase, voice off, is and the last sentence, I love my new pictures. There is no prepositional phrase in that sentence, but the topic is my new pictures, so I'm going to sign that first. My new pictures, or my new pictures on the wall, pointing to them. You could also sign my pictures new, I love. You can put the adjective afterwards as well, okay? My new pictures, I love. And I'm just showing, I'm envisioning myself looking at my new pictures on the wall and enjoying them. Voice off, that sentence would be. So that's a breakdown of how I would sign this. Again, keep in mind that you're not going to sign everything exactly the way I sign it. The most important thing is that you're identifying the prepositional phrase and you're learning to put it in the correct place in your interpretation.
Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures. Last weekend, I wanted some pictures for my living room wall. So I went shopping with my dad. It was insanely crowded in Target, but we did find some good deals in the clearance section. I love my new pictures.
Again, since you actually want to learn this structure as opposed to just being exposed to it, I highly suggest this additional activity. It's deliberate practice regarding active listening. So you're going to sit down for a specific amount of time and turn on a podcast or the news, and you're just going to listen for prepositional phrases. You're going to listen for the prepositional phrase, but try to hear and identify an entire phrase or an entire sentence. So not just the prepositional phrase, but the entire sentence that it's in. And then tell yourself, okay, where would I put that prepositional phrase? How would I start this sentence? This is not a turn on a podcast and pick your hands up and interpret the whole thing. We have to get used to listening and thinking. And so this is a listening and thinking exercise. Signs aside, signs later. So listen to something, hear a prepositional phrase, identify the whole sentence that was in, and then see if you can just in your mind go, okay, I heard the prepositional phrase on the shelf. The whole sentence was, my glasses are on the shelf. And so I would sign shelf first. And then you keep listening to the next one. You go, oh, okay, I just heard in the fridge. In the fridge is a prepositional phrase. The whole sentence was, did you see my cake in the fridge this morning? So then I would be signing this morning first and then refrigerator next. And then you keep listening and keep doing that exact same thing over and over. Listening carefully, identifying that prepositional phrase, hearing the whole sentence, and then figuring out how you would start off that interpretation. You can do that whole thing sitting on your hands. This is not a signing activity. And very quickly, here are just some additional notes. Last weekend can be signed last weekend, 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 like end. Some people leave it week like I do, your non-dominant hand shape as week, weekend. Some people change it to end, weekend, weekend. Either is fine. Not weekend, we don't want to sign it like this. But either of those are fine. You'll also see people when speaking about weekends in a general term, in a general sense, you'll also sometimes see Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like if you just like what do you like to do on the weekends, or what do you enjoy to do when you're not working, that kind of feeling. General terms, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is another way to do that. Okay, I used this for pictures. You could have done pictures. You wouldn't use list for this to make that one plural. But since it's such a visual thing, having pictures on the wall, using this classifier to show them actually on the wall, putting them on the wall is a good choice. I'm signing living room, like formal room. You'll also see L, living room, or living room. Keep in mind also that if you do this sign is selling, this is sell, this is store, or store sells things, and this is selling something. This is not buying. This is buy one thing, this is shopping, buying lots of things. Just want to clarify those two signs because they're very commonly confused, okay? This is shopping or buying things. Crowded or crowded. Many people, you could just say many people. That would be fine. Good deals could be reduced price, good price, cheap price. All of those would work great. This is the sign love for things that are not people. Kissing the back of your hand, love. I think that about covers it. Okay, that's it. There is another video applying this knowledge coming up, so stay tuned for that. Bye-bye.